The story of Oman starts on the sea.
Here is a country that has been at the crossroads of trade and commerce for thousands of years.
And when you come to Oman, you join countless generations of traders and explorers that have passed through, seeking far-reaching trade networks. It's a network that continues today, and though it's been tested by turbulence in the region, has always found safe harbors here.
Almost of Oman, they got the sea in the blood, nature.
Oman's proud seafaring legacy reaches back to when it was a bustling stop along the ancient Silk Road. By the 19th century, it would become a maritime empire, extending its influence through trade routes that stretched across the Indian Ocean and south to Africa.
We just departure port and we're going to the ocean, inshallah.
I feel safe with you.
Saleh Al-Jabri has his own deep connection to the sea. A lifelong sailor who served in Oman's navy, he's invited me for a cruise in the waters that surround the capital, Muscat. In 2010, Saleh captained the Jewel of Muscat, a traditional dhow sailing boat handcrafted as a gift from the Sultanate of Oman to Singapore. To deliver it, Saleh and a crew of his countrymen set sail on a 5-week voyage.
There's a chance you will not come back home. There's a chance you will not come back to this land again.
With no motors or modern equipment, they endured everything from a broken mast to a cyclone.
They give us a lot of respect for our forefathers. I've been navigating. It's tremendous.
Ooh.
That's make you feeling of...
Yes, I can feel it,
yeah.
yes. Whoa.
As luck would have it, I was getting my own taste of the open sea.
And when you can see it's coming, 1, 2, 3, okay, this is it. This is the big one.
Yeah, the big one, exactly, see? I mean, when we are in the sailing, are you okay? Are you okay?
Luckily, I have something to hang on to. Our cameraman, not so much.
Are you okay?
Retreating to calmer waters, Saleh explains that Omanis have always been famous for navigating the high seas.
What did you learn in that process?
We are still respect Oman maritime heritage, and it's still going on.
It's still going on.
Missing. And the good things, it's the continuance of the trading, of the learning period of this navigation to these new generations.
Are you as good as the old sailors? As the...
Not really.
While the discovery of oil and gas in the 1960s moved much of Oman's fortunes inland and underground, today the country is exploring new ways to diversify the economy by looking to its unique geography. It's part of Vision 2040, a comprehensive push to reduce Oman's carbon footprint and reach net zero.
From the sea to these mountains and to the deserts beyond, I'm learning that Oman's rugged landscape, although challenging at times, has always provided. And I'm also meeting new entrepreneurial minds that are finding new and innovative ways to transform the land.
This would typically take decades in nature. So we're speeding up this natural reaction that you're seeing here.
Talal Hassan is a pioneer in the drive to decarbonize. He's taking me on a hike above Muscat to show why these mountains may hold the secret to a sustainable solution.
One thing when people walk through these hikes is they don't realize the significance of these carbonate veins going through the rocks. So these...
They'll just think it's pretty.
Yes.
You know, it looks
absolutely.
good.
So these are actually fractures, or they were fractures in the rock at some point. And what's happened is water and CO2 from the atmosphere has penetrated them and created calcium carbonate, this white rock that you see here. And this stuff is permanent, locked away forever.
Removing CO2 from the atmosphere is the new holy grail when it comes to halting climate change. Talal's startup 44.01, named after the molecular mass of carbon dioxide, captures CO2 from the atmosphere, mixes it with seawater, and injects it deep into the earth, where it reacts with periodite rock formations and remains.
So what is incredible about this Omani terrain, which many people don't know?
These are rocks that are typically sat 40 kilometers underground that have been pushed up to the surface. So effectively, the geology has been put on its
So
head.
we're upside down, essentially.
Absolutely, yes.
44.01 plans to begin mineralizing several thousand tons of CO2 per year in Oman. But how does a country built on fossil fuels begin fueling the green revolution?
What's great about our process is what we are doing is effectively oil and gas, but in reverse. So rather than taking hydrocarbons out of the ground, we're putting carbon back in. And what that means is we need the same people, the same equipment, the same infrastructure, the same partnerships. So this is more of an energy transition play than a new sector that we're kind of pushing.
So this is Omani technology that now you're exporting as well.
Absolutely. The scalability is the most important piece. This rock comes to the surface on every continent on this planet. And what we want to do is take this technology and we want to share it with the rest of the world and scale it to the rest of the world.
If Oman's mountains offer a roadmap for the future, I'm told they're also the perfect place to wind down after a long day.
Quite a steep climb, so
Okay.
we will just engage.
Were you walking it?
No. We're going to
Oh.
go the Omani way.
We're going to
Drive
go.
there.
Are we going to drive?
Taimur Al-Said knows a thing or two about taking people off the beaten path.
Welcome.
This is it.
His luxury travel company specializes in uncovering Oman's hidden gems.
Taimur, wow. I have not seen anything like this so far.
Welcome to my office.
Meetings with you must be in demand. Like, what is the demand right now?
I mean,
It's keeping you busy.
I'm not into the mass tourism. It's like a double-edged sword for me. I obviously want Oman to develop, but need slowly. Slowly is good, slowly and in the right way, and you know, not over tourism and the sort of right amount of tourists.
With just over 4 million visitors arriving last year, much of this natural beauty remains pristine.
There's so much untouched areas in Oman, and to be able to just go in and explore. And I think the most unique thing is the friendliness of the people, the hospitality of the people. People are natural hosts. I find Omanis are very natural at hosting and making people feel welcome and wanting to show the country, as I'm doing now.
It's a mix of nature, wild, and the fact that for a couple of hours I can't think of anything else than biking, because on a mountain bike, if you think of anything else, you fall.
Reggie Vermeulen relies on Oman's rugged terrain to get him through his workday.
I can completely disconnect, don't think about work. It's really fantastic, I love it.
Like so many who come to visit or work in this Gulf country, Reggie says the landscapes lure you in, but it's something else that gets you to stay.
It's for me a very interesting equilibrium between work, life, balance. We work a lot, but you know the statement work hard, play hard?
Yeah.
This is the place where you can have the play hard. It is not the discotheque part, it's the outdoor. It's the nature, it's the friendship, it's the welcoming. I have as many Omani friends as I have foreign friends.
Reggie has worked at Oman's Duqm port for over a decade. Although instability has impacted shipping and logistics in the region, he says the country's transition to alternative fuels is still its top priority.
We all know the turmoil that are in the region. We are in the open sea. Oman is facing the Indian Ocean, and that cannot be hindered. And this is something that we are really looking for and actually capitalizing on now and in the future.
Look, what's also interesting, green hydrogen.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about this. You're going to be playing an important role in all of this. Do you see it happening?
Yeah, I think that being the new kid on the block makes us a lot of advantage, because we are able to provide a full logistic infrastructure for a growing industry, an industry that does not exist yet. And I think if you look around the world, there are not a lot of places where you have a huge amount of space that is available next to a state-of-the-art infrastructure.
Oman is already investing aggressively into renewables. Reggie says he signed contracts worth nearly $40 billion with various industries, including steelmakers who plan to use Oman's cleaner hydrogen to begin making green steel.
There is a commitment from each of these companies to transition to hydrogen when it will be made available in the country.
The promise of green hydrogen is that it can replace oil and gas as a clean energy source. But to make it, you need renewable energy, and lots of it. Once again, Oman's landscape may hold the secret.
Why do you think Oman is uniquely positioned to be able to produce hydrogen at a price that makes sense, more so than other countries?
It's this complementarity between the solar and wind. There are not many points around the world where you can see both solar and wind work in unison, so that you have your solar peaks during the day, and then on the flanks you have the wind.
That picks up. I experienced that at night, at the evening.
It picks up at the evening and then stays up all throughout the evening into the early hours of the morning.
The nationwide plan to produce at least 1 million tons of green hydrogen by 2030 extends south to Oman's busiest port, Salalah. With strategic access to the Arabian Sea, coupled with an expansive free zone, Salalah holds many advantages.
Our ports are located ideally to become prime logistic hubs for hydrogen. We've got the first project coming up in Salalah Free Zone, Salalah H2, with a production capacity of 340,000 tons of green ammonia. We are the first movers in this region on that front.
While green fuels gear up, Port Salalah's shipping facility continues to place it among the world's most efficient ports.
Can you hear that? That is the sound of trade and commerce playing out in real time. I want you to take a look at the things around you right now. They're in some way connected to the shipping industry, brought to you by the beautiful seas that surround us, and then transported straight to your front door. Isn't it just magnificent?
Equally impressive is Salalah's booming dry bulk business. The port is the biggest exporter of gypsum in the world.
People don't know this, but majority of the gypsum from the world comes from here. We've got limestone. We have one of the biggest transshipment hubs in the world, not in the region. It's Salalah, a port of Salalah.
It's a windy day. That's why it's a bit dusty.
Yeah.
Visiting a limestone company in the nearby free zone, you begin to understand why location is so vital to a port's value chain.
Fully processed here in Oman.
Absolutely, 100% Omani product, from the raw material to the final finished goods. As you closer to the port, you are fast in your dispatch. You are saving in your
It's making it cheaper to produce a finished product.
Absolutely.
The lime comes directly from nearby mines, gets processed here on site, and is quickly shipped out in bulk to nearby Asian markets.
So can I see the final product?
Yeah, we can do.
It's in high demand in the production of steel.
One thing you do need to focus on is, of course, your carbon footprint. Can you do it greener?
We can do it greener, of course. In a very soon, they will come with some sort of technology to capture the carbon, and then it can be remineralized, They inject it back to the ground, and then it is not there in that atmosphere anymore.
So you're working with them as well?
As well as green hydrogen potential producers.
I've heard green steel, I've heard about green ammonia. I was speaking to the limestone guys, and they're like, you know, we can decarbonize. But these are very carbon intensive industries. Do you think it can really be done?
You have to push the limits, I think. If we want to really push the limit of sustainability and net zero, I think we have to look at alternative fuels, and the whole world is moving that direction. We know here, for example, that Oman is one of the best located countries when it comes to green hydrogen.
Could hydrogen replace oil and gas, do you think, down the line?
In general, I don't believe it's an either or. It's not a zero-sum game. We've already demonstrated that renewables is very attractive, and we're doubling down on these efforts in terms of renewables as we start to then work towards these low-carbon molecules.
If capacity comes online as planned, the International Energy Agency says Oman could become the 6th largest exporter of green hydrogen in the world by the end of the decade.
I think that Oman in its DNA has a prudent approach, is less of a show-off, but would deliver eventually the project. Everybody's talking about hydrogen, it's the big hype. Oman is a little bit more low profile on it. And being in it, I see the things moving on a secured path, which is for me quite exciting and also encouraging to the future.
This is fantastic. I'm exhausted, but then I feel good.
If there's one thing you have to do when you come to Oman, locals will tell you, is to visit Salalah in the summer. The monsoon rains create their own cooler microclimate, transforming the valleys or wadis into a lush green.
Yet even here, in all this natural beauty, ports and trade are always within reach. It was the ancient export of frankincense, a precious commodity that opened Oman to distant markets, connecting it to the world. So I'm back in Oman, and that means I have to buy frankincense.
Frankincense has been coveted for thousands of years for its fragrance. And something I never knew, digestion.
Can I taste? Tastes like it smells.
Although it's still harvested from the sap of nearby trees, the reality is Oman's geography and climate have always presented challenges when it comes to growing crops. Returning back to Muscat, I'm told there's another must-see wadi, where 3 enterprising brothers have found a way to do what until recently was almost unheard of: organic farming in the desert.
Okay, so you're a scientist.
That's right.
And I'm a finance person.
Finance person?
And my background is marketing, but mostly sales.
So please tell me why you are planting tomatoes and carrots.
I mean, it was pretty random, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we did the whole leaving your corporate jobs thing to try and, you know, start something of our own.
Growing up and studying abroad, we really realized the quality of vegetables that was missing from the market here. So that's something that we felt very passionate about.
Yuzu grows over 40 crops here on this farm and makes around 500 deliveries a week. Their early clients were restaurants looking for locally grown produce.
Amazing tomatoes. The
Thanks a
plants
lot.
look really happy. You wouldn't guess they're in the desert. But I want to know how long it took you to get this kind of yield, because there are a lot of tomatoes here.
I mean, we could talk about the yield of the crop, or we could talk about all the time it took for us to learn to grow it.
How many mistakes did you make?
We've been growing tomatoes for about 7 years.
Okay.
We failed for the first 4 years, so this is probably our 3rd year of a successful crop. Some people would say it's a bit of an art form.
Agriculture is an art form. People don't get that.
It really is. I mean, just the way that you nurture a plant, the way you prune it, to really make sure that everything is super efficient.
The brothers pride themselves on their high standards, which has gained them the US Department of Agriculture's organic certification. But at the end of the day, the most important barometer is, how do they taste?
That's so good.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I'm glad you like it. One thing that we think makes our tomatoes very sweet is actually our water, right? So beneath this ground are actually, you know, massive underground aquifers. And water has a lot of minerals that basically, can actually add to the soil. The thing that's also really interesting is that you don't want plants to be too comfortable. So sort of like humans.
They like to suffer a little bit, don't they?
That's right,
yeah?
exactly. So I guess like people, you have to exercise and you have to challenge yourself. Plants are the same thing. And I think that's one thing that is really good about this environment, right? You think we're in a challenging environment, but maybe that is the secret to actually getting a really tasty tomato. I mean, we are in the desert, right? Yeah. And it's a hot environment. Our soil is a bit sandy. So I think the whole idea is that you need to create the conditions for success, right? Which means having amazing soil, so raising your organic matter, and then mostly working with the nature. So basically working with pests, trying to understand the local patterns.
I was actually working in a bank before I joined this farm, and one of the things I was doing was working on coding for algorithms in finance. And that's kind of where I, let's say, honed my skills, and I was like, you know what, agriculture is actually a sector that really needs this digitization, and it's a sector that could seriously benefit from digitization as well, because the efficiency gains are so much more massive from that.
During the COVID-19 pandemic, food security was more important than ever. The country's shipping and logistics sector became a lifeline, ensuring the food supply chain remained open. The government has invested more than $4.9 billion to boost domestic production in agriculture and reduce reliance on imports.
I think it's just one of the businesses that just truly works, from a sustainability perspective, from a health perspective, and also from the bottom line too.
So you got the easiest job because you just have to market this.
Yeah, absolutely. All I have to do with the chefs and our customers is just say, try this, smell this, and then there you go. Then they're like, I want it straight away. Give me this kilos.
Looking to one day export, right now the brothers are happy helping reduce Oman's carbon footprint and satisfying a growing local appetite for healthy food.
What Greek women do is that we cut straight into the salad bowl. Yes, you don't have uniform pieces, but that's the beauty of eating a salad.
Whether it's the land, sea, or even soil, I'm learning there's a determination here to take a unique geography and create something new. It's all part of Oman's mission to become an international player in sustainable trade.
What?
And my mission is to make a delicious salad.
Dig in. The only thing I did was help cut the salad. You guys grew it, so at least I felt like I contributed to this value chain. This is so good. Well done, guys. Amazing.